What is up, beautiful people? This is the Small Hat Crew. I'm Small Hat Chris, and I have with me today Small Hat Brandon and
Hey.
Nick. And today we are reviewing more cards. Oh, I went silent because I thought you guys
More
were
cards,
gonna say
yay!
something. Yeah, more cards, yay. So let's cut to the chase. Let's just go ahead and take a look at the first card. God, these are cat pictures. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Where are the cards? I only
Brother,
see cat pictures.
in the group call.
Alright, Mr. 2 Bonclay. Purple character. Cost 3, power 4k. Baroque Works. On opponent's attack, Don -1. This character's original power becomes the attacking character's or leader's power until the end of the turn. Trigger, Don -1. You may play this card. I hate this card. I was talking to Nick about how this card made me go blind with rage. It's not even like it's not even like it's the worst card, but why this card makes me so angry is because as a Blurple Croc believer, for this card to have the Baroque Works tag, he has stolen a spot. He has stolen a spot of Baroque Works support that Blurple Croc could get. It's been wasted on this abysmal card.
Here's what I like about the card. It's very flavorful for Mr. 2. And it says no matter what they attack with, they can attack with a 12k. You can protect this character with 1k counter. That being said, this isn't something worth protecting. It's a 4k.
Not.
If it was a 5k,
Yeah.
maybe.
It'd be a
But
different
it's a
story.
4k. No, I don't like it.
Yeah, it's also an instance too where it's like you have to minus the Dawn to save him. I get Europal Croc will refund you the Dawn, but it's like that's one deck. Cause it's like cause for him to swing at leader, you have to invest a Dawn. So in purple in general, so you're minusing a Dawn to keep him alive, and then you have to invest another Dawn on the following turn to swing with him.
Well, you can
That's
you
so
can minus
bad.
the Dawn that you've attached to him to attack with that your leader then refunds back to you. Just playing that side of the coin.
On the opponent's turn.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it at all.
He's awful.
It's not
He's
great.
so
If
like
it was a 5k,
I don't like the card.
playable.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna give him
I think the only way he'd be playable is if he was a
one?
2k counter.
True.
Yeah, though I don't get why he's not. Every one that we've had, every Bonclay we've had at this point has been a 2k. That was what I thought when I read how bad his effect was. I was like, oh, he's a 2k. And then I looked at his
Criminal
counter.
that they gave us a Mr. 2 that's not a 2k.
I'm gonna give this card a 1. Or I would have given this card a 1. The fact that he is a Baroque Works though makes me so angry. I'll give him a 0. I'm gonna give him a 0. That is a card that Purple Croc could have gotten to maybe do something. It's wasted. Bro,
I'm gonna give him a 1.
no. Yeah, no, see, because that's why I said I would have given him a 1 too. But the fact he got the Baroque Works tag, the fact I take this personally. Like, this is a slight against Purple Croc.
You can't
this
be
is
biased to your viewers, man.
What do you mean? It's literally what's this all opinion based?
Oh, you're right.
It's all
You're
opinion.
right.
This is all opinion based. And look, I'm sorry. I want Purple Croc to do something. I want him to finally get in there and do something one day. And this is one card that's just been taken from him. He's just lost a card of support to this garbage. And it makes me so angry.
Yeah, no, that's
Nick,
fair.
what are you giving this
I
card?
would say like a 0.5.
You think so?
It's a Baroque Works. It's purple. What do we get?
God, and if it had been a 2K, it would have been a 2K that Miss
I
Wednesday
just
could
want you
search.
to know, though.
Oh, Miss Wednesday can search all of the current on Clay 2Ks in purple.
Oh, that's
So
true.
you're
That's
telling
true.
me that a 3-Dawn creature that can survive a Whitebeard attack, the 9-drop Whitebeard with a 1k counter.
You know what it doesn't survive though? It doesn't survive Pell attack. Pell just pops it.
Wait. Would it?
Yeah.
But Pell is on attack.
Effects happened
and this
before.
is-
Your opponent.
Effects happen first.
Your opponent turn player has priority, so your opponent would go. Yeah.
Yep. Yokozuna. Purple, 3 cost 3k blocker. Animal, water 7, 1k counter, blocker. On your opponent's attack, Dawn -1. Return up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less to its owner's hand. This
Yeah,
card
I don't
sucks.
like it.
This card's like a 2.
It is way too late.
It's way too late. Also, I think even if we'd gotten it any sooner, I would never pay 3 Dawn for a 3k
If it
blocker.
bottom decked the card, maybe, but I mean, if you're putting
No.
a 2 or less to the hand, that's gonna be played. Yeah, it make.
I am refusing to play a blocker that is... As long as Vista exists, I'm never paying more than 1 Dawn for a blocker
Yeah,
that
if
dies
this
to
was
Vista.
4K, maybe it would see some playability.
Yeah,
but
that'd be a
even
different
then,
story.
like,
And even exactly.
It's not what purple needed.
Even then, Pell exists.
Yeah.
This card sucks. And then it's like Dawn -1. It's minusing a Dawn for such a mediocre effect. This is just not a good card. I already said 2 out of 5. That's the highest I'd give it. And
Yeah, I agree with 2 out of 5. There's worse cards, but
yeah, exactly.
not many.
It's a searchable blocker, like best case scenario, I suppose. Yeah, like a 1.5.
Yeah. 7 drop 7k, yellow, Big Mom, 0 counter, Land of Wano, 4 Emperors, Big Mom Pirates. Also treat this card's name as Charlotte Linlin, according to the rules. Trigger, if you have 1 or less cards in your life area, you may play this card. So me and Nick were talking about this card a little bit earlier. Now that you're in the club, Brand, I guess we could really get into this discussion. I don't think the card's good, but I think it has a place. I think this card has a place.
I agree.
I think in yellow Big Mom, because at the end of the day, yeah, if you are playing yellow Big Mom, you can, because remember, if you are able to use Big Mom's effect, that means that you are in the life range that this card's asking for. So that's just a free 7k body. And then an example I gave earlier, although I don't think the leader's good by any means, I was talking about maybe like Blello Queen, like using a Perona, putting this on top of your deck, then using Queen to put it in your life.
Oh, you're speaking my language now.
Yeah.
Got it.
Everything I'm speaking right now is gimmicky. I don't by any means think that it would qualify as good, but I think she has a place in her gimmicky little, she's probably like a 2 of
To
maybe.
be honest, I think she has a place in the not tier 1 yellow decks. Like the more gimmicky decks,
Yeah.
she will have a place in them. But in competitive yellow decks, I don't see this card
No, not at all. Not even
9
remotely.
times out of 10, it's going to be a brick in your hand that you're never going to drop a 7k for 7. So,
Yeah, if we're talking competitive, like for instance, if like we were talking Katakuri, for example, this card would be a 1. This card would
I
not
can
be
kind
good.
of see it in the yellow-black Big Mom. One, because you're playing black, you can discard cards from your hand. It's a perfect discard target. But yellow-black Big Mom,
That's
doesn't
true.
she also add life cards back if she's at 1 or less or something?
If you're at
Yeah,
1,
so-
exactly. If you're at 1, you can swap the life. So once again,
Once again, like one of the not tier 1 yellow decks or decks that runs yellow that can use this as a gimmick, it'll have its place for sure.
Yeah, now this is a perfectly fun little locals card. I don't even think that this deck would go, I don't even think this card would go into a competitive rogue deck either. But like, I think for what it is, as its place, as its purpose, I'd give it a 2 out of 5 once again. I don't think the card's by any means terrible.
Yeah.
It has a home
I'd
somewhere.
agree with it, 2 out of 5. I wish it had at least 1k counter, but
Yeah, I agree. Like, if it hits, cool. Like, but to have to base a whole play style, or like have to get this to go off, it's so much work, and I'm not down for it.
Yeah, cards like this card is like, it's newbie bait. Like, newbie players will look at this and they'll see the high roll potential for what this can do, but that is the only thing that they will look at. They won't look at the full picture of what this card will be doing 99% of the time, and that's going to be being a brick in your hand or coming out of your life and going to the discard pile because you don't meet the condition to
because
summon
also
it.
at this point, you have 1 or less life. So at that point, it's already endgame, so it's not like you're sneaking out a 7k early, like you're getting Cracker out on turn 1 potentially. This is a card that it's just a win more, maybe sneak a game in with it, but no, it's...
Yeah, exactly. It's a gimmick, but it's a fun
Very.
game, and we
I'll
take
definitely play
those.
around with it, you know.
We should talk about a good card now. Let's talk about Sugar.
Yeah, let's do it.
Alright, so 2 drop 0k, 1k counter, green Sugar. Don Quixote Pirates. Opponent's turn, once per turn. When your opponent plays a card, if your leader is of the Don Quixote Pirates, rest up to one of your opponent's characters. Then rest this card. On play, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. This card's ridiculous. This card
disgusting.
might be the strongest 2-drop that this game has seen. This card might be the strongest
I
2-drop.
am
What would it
other-
compete with? Curly Dedan, maybe?
I'd say against anything other
Yeah.
than red, like this card is disgusting.
Yeah, no, this card is actual, and that's the thing too, because that's counter. So it's like even in red, you can just discard it for counter because you know she's not sticking to the board. Yeah, no, this card is the amount of things this card does on 2 Dawn is actually stupid. This card is ridiculous. It comes out, it taps something, mind you, it's tapping a 4 or less. Izo does the same. He costs 3.
I do want to ask something though.
What?
It says opponent's turn once per turn, but it doesn't. It kind of wording wise seems like you have to do its ability.
from how this is translated, if this is correct, then yes, the first time your opponent plays a character, it is mandatory to do.
Okay. So that does make it play aroundable, like you can play around it, but the fact that it also has, so if it was just the opponent's turn effect, it would be like, okay, this is a good card. The fact that it has an on-play rest of 4 or less makes this a great card. I've never been more glad to see a card be leader specific.
Yeah, this card is, I'll give her a 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, I'd go honestly because it has that on-play effect, 4.5. It's so good.
Yeah, no, it's literally on play Ezo, and then on my opponent's turn, they have to play a specific way to, because especially too, if you're dropping this early game, it's not like you have the Dawn to put something out there to take the tap, and then play something better. You know, you can play this turn 1 in a green deck. Like, this card is, it's so, oh my god, that's disgusting.
I already know what her alt art's gonna look like too.
What do you mean?
She's gonna get an altar, and it's gonna be like the face where her eyes are popping out and Usopp scaring her.
Oh yeah,
that's gonna be it.
I hope not.
Moving on to the next card then. We have 5 Dawn, 6k, Yellow Bellamy, 0 counter. So we are once again working with the Basil Hawkins stats, the 5 drop 6k 0 counter. Dawn X, it has Banish, I didn't notice that. It has Banish, Dawn ×2, when you have 0 life, this character gains 2k power. I think this card sucks.
Yeah, I wanted to like it, but it's one of those where it's so specific to have it do something.
He literally says you must be losing.
Well, no, I was gonna say, like, you don't play this card when you're losing. This is a card that I would treat like green Yamato currently, where I place it on board and just kind of forget about it until, like, the effect becomes relevant, because that 2k power goes for both players' turns. So Dawn, you become a 10k swing Banish, and then opponent's turn it's still an 8k body they have to try and answer if they really want to.
For me though, it's like, because sticking Yamato to the board is because the payoff for her is so big. It's so big, whereas this guy, it's not, and he's in jet pistol range also, and he has no counter. Yamato at least has counter. Like,
I definitely see some yellow decks, just like the Big Mom, playing around with this card.
Really?
Yeah, like the ones where they literally play on 1 and 0 life. Like Nick said, you set it up. It's a setup. So I can agree with that, but I still don't think it's a good card.
Yeah, because I think, for instance, too, because you think about it, Basil Hawkins is one of the few cards that we see people run as a one-of. And he's seen as a one-of because he's a 5-drop 6k with no counter, but his effect is good. So then to compare that to this card, he's nowhere near in power level. And then also because you have to think about, we just reviewed Cavendish not too long ago. It was another 5-drop 6k with counter. We weren't even that big on that card.
Well, we're about to be.
Yeah.
So I think with that being said, then I'll give this Bellamy a 1. You guys drop your ratings, and then we'll move on.
I think he'd be a 2.
I'll give him a 2.5.
Really?
I think, like, if it works, it works type deal.
Yeah.
Like, I like Banish a lot.
I love Banish too. I can't do 5-drop 6k with no counter. That's a brick waiting to happen.
Yeah.
4-drop 5k, 1k counter. Black Trafalgar D. Oh, it just says Trafalgar.
Yeah, none of his cards say D law on them.
They never say Trafalgar D water law.
Nope.
On play, you may rest one of your leaders. KO up to one of your opponent's characters that cost 1 or less. Oh, we're still doing that?
Yes. Plus he has...
We're still doing the 1 or less thing? They have to get some form of in-archetype.
I think he's okay.
They have to get some form of in-archetype reduction.
4-drop 5k, it seems like worse Kobe, to be honest.
You think so? To me, he strikes me as worse Robin.
I don't know.
Oh, because it's an on-play effect, I get it. You don't have to trash a card
to do it. It is.
Yeah, you don't have
like
to
Kobe,
trash a card.
But like you have to.
Yeah.
Also say you would have to waste other resources into reduction.
I think the Dressrosa black cards we've gotten are so mediocre that it's hard to have like a full. No, hear me out. I think the black cards we've gotten for Dressrosa are so mediocre that it's hard to have the full big picture with them. Because for instance, a lot of these cards, we've looked at them one way, but then it took a certain card being revealed to then change the perspective of how we view those cards. And I think that's the problem that I will have with Law. If there's some in-archetype level reduction or cost reduction that we get, it changes a lot of the stuff drastically, because then there's a consistent way to get to the card, to lower the bodies, to pop the 1-drops. But until that is revealed, I'm not big
You
on
know
this
what?
card. I think this card...
But now that you bring it up, with that card being now without the card that we're gonna reveal soon, sorry to be mysterious. I'm sure you guys already know about it. But without it, I think this card is very mediocre. It would never feel great to play. With it,
Yeah.
being that this has the Dressrosa tag on it, now that I think about it, it honestly isn't that bad. For a black card, I'd give it a 1 out of 5. In the Dressrosa deck,
Yeah.
from what we've seen, 2.5 out of 5, maybe a 3, around there.
That's what I mean. That's exactly what I... Because, like, the black cards, they themselves are very, very mediocre. But the card we're gonna... Let's just jump over to the next card so that we don't have to keep being cryptic. So I would give this card... I think I've been very consistent in this video. I'm gonna just give this a 2.5 out of 5, actually.
Yeah.
I'll switch it up.
Nice A2 is fire.
Let's move on to the
Best card in this
bread
set.
and butter.
Oh, yeah. Corridor Coliseum. Black... What? Okay, black stage, cost 1. Oh god. Dressrosa. If your leader has the Dressrosa type, your characters that have the Dressrosa type can attack characters on the turn they are played. This card is a 5 out of 5. This card
This
is
card makes the deck.
phenomenal.
Yes.
This card, before this card was revealed, all the black cards
Now-
were terrible. I thought they were all so
What I
bad.
do want to go over, I know some people had a lot of confusion when the card got revealed. So what it lets you do is your Dressrosa characters gain rush against characters only, so they can attack characters right away. Only rested characters, unless those characters, like most of the Dressrosas, can attack active characters. Those can attack actives right
Yes.
away.
I think this card is so good. Now, we had this debate the other day over Hot Pot, but I'll bring it up here so that, you know, the people know my stance on this card. I think this card is phenomenal. I think this card makes the deck, but I think that will also be the problem with Rebecca. I think, like Kaido, this deck lives and dies with this stage. I think if you do not see this stage, you are playing a very mediocre deck, and with this stage, your deck is now meta. It's now a very good deck. But that is my issue with her. I think that she'll be a good deck. I think that she'll be a very good leader. I think that she will win treasure cups and flagships and regionals. I think that she will be a top tier deck. I don't think, however, that she would be amongst the top of the top tier leaders that set. Because for me, a top tier deck, a top tier leader has to be a leader that's game plan can't really be it can't really go awry anywhere, you know? You're very solid. You don't have any holes in your plan. Rebecca, if she does not see this stage, she crumbles.
If I can put up my counter to that.
No.
Oh, of
So
course.
this is why this is 100 times better than like she's going to be a lot better than Kaido is relying on Onigashima. So one, this is a 1 Dawn stage. Insanity. The problem
Yeah, no, that's
with
ridiculous.
Onigashima is if you don't drop it on 3 Dawn, you're never dropping that card. This card, and so no matter when you play Kaido, if you lose the game at 10 Dawn, you've seen an Onigashima at some point in the game, most likely. You just weren't able to drop it because you didn't drop it on turn 2. With this, it's going to feel good to play on any turn in the game. Plus, Dressrosa cards, you're playing a black deck with blue support. You're going to have Peronas, you're going to have 3-drop Dofis. You're going to see this card. Plus, your leader ability can search this card. Even though it's only...
Yes, well,
It's
that's what I was gonna
Yeah.
say.
it's top 2, but
Um,
I mean, worst case scenario, like, well, I guess best case kind of if you go second and don't see this card, Perona, put it to the top, leader ability, get it in your hand. It's gonna be a lot more reliable than Onigashima was 100 times because it's a 1-drop and it's semi-searchable.
yes. No,
It's
I
a
agree.
good card. It makes, I mean, obviously we know it's a good card, but the deck is going to be insane with this card.
Yeah. Before I double down, Nick, I'll let you go and voice your stance on this card.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this card I think makes or breaks Rebecca. The fact that I would, like you're saying, blue has access to Perona and Dofi blockers, but that's 8 slots
Right.
that I have to now put blue into this deck.
Yeah.
And blue color pool is just weak. It's
Now I will say, in favor of what Brandon was saying, though. I think with a leader ability like Rebecca, you would want to play those cards even if this card didn't exist.
At least the Dofis, maybe not the Peronas, because Dofi at least you get a
Oh,
4K
yeah,
blocker that's
yeah,
not
yeah.
misted.
Exactly. Yeah.
spelled.
No, I agree.
This man and his Pell. That's his answer
Bro.
to everything.
Because Pell is the answer to everything.
Yeah, it's...
So this
Yeah,
card makes
but
or
to be
breaks
fair,
Rebecca.
Pell's like-
It's absolutely necessary in your game plan.
Yeah. So I think because I was using Kaido as an example just because he was a leader that relies on his stage, but I think he's an even better comparison because I just thought about it. Kaido was a meta leader OP1. I don't think anyone would ever dispute that. Kaido was a very good leader OP1. However, as far as meta as he was not amongst the top. He was a very, very good leader. I think Rebecca will be the Kaido of OP4. She's Kaido that's been adjusted for power creep. So, her stage has been reduced in cost. She's gotten a way to actually dig and search for the stage. I think that she will be OP4's Kaido. I think that she will be, if Kaido had been released in OP4, and Onigashima had been released in OP4, that they would have done something like this for him. I think that if she's competing in a climate that's going to have Isho, that's going to have Vivi, that's going to have Dofi, I think that just the power level of what we've seen, and this is all speculation, of course, we could always be wrong, but that looks like a very, very, very powerful set that they're going to be playing in. And I think that you can't afford to be able to have to play turns, very mediocre turns where you don't see your stage.
Again, I'm gonna go back to it being 1 Dawn is what makes it like, even if you see this on 8 Dawn, you can drop this and then play the 7-drop Luffy. Yes, I'm bringing it back to that because my boy's about to be amazing.
Yeah.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, the fact that you can drop this on turn 1 and then turn 2 immediately start attacking with your characters. So like, the one thing I will say, if you don't see this on turn 1, you're gonna have a bad time against things that are running like Momos and Bonnies, because your leader can't attack. So like, yes, this is absolutely necessary for the deck, but I think it's going to be so reliable to getting it in the deck, and you don't need to see it on turn 1. So
here's why I disagree with that, however. So I think like Kaido, it's like how like you would have to see the stage, and like you mentioned before, if you didn't see it, like if you didn't see it on turn 2, then it would be very hard to find a place to play it, right? And that's a problem that this stage does not have. However, I think the inverse issue here is that if Kaido didn't see stage, his cards were still very good, so that they would at least be able to actually play the game. Whereas I think Rebecca's cards without the stage are all very, very bad. If I see this on turn 4, Sabo is the only good standalone card. He's the only card that is good whether or not the stage exists. Sabo will continue to see play till the ends of time.
Not with the way
and
Power
whether or
Creep
not
is
this
going, Sabo gonna be a bad card.
He'll be bad by OP5. But yeah, that's how, because I feel like you mentioned, you said you'd feel good about dropping this on turn 4, but the way I also look at it is you've had to play in that OP4 meta against leaders like Vivi, Isho, and Dofi for 4 turns without your stage.
I mean, that's worst case scenario. And then even then, with 8, leading up to it, I've played a Sabo, I played a Borsalino, something like that, so like I have a decent board. I just don't think that the leader is going to be like, if I don't see this within the first few turns, I lose the game. It'll make it a little bit tougher, but I think... But
that's because, like, Kaido was able to fall back on Queen as his blocker.
Okay.
She can fall back on Sabo, so that's a good parallel right there. But what she doesn't have that Kaido did have was he was able to fall back on 6-drop King. He was able to fall back on 7-drop King. He could fall back on 9-drop Rush Kaido. Like, Kaido's cards just individually all had such powerful effects. She does not have that. Her cards actually don't do anything without the stage.
Correct, but I think you're also forgetting to realize that it's black. So like, their 6-drop King, you're gonna be playing 6-drop Sakazukis most likely. So you still have those power cards to go as well. I mean, black is just a good color.
Yeah, but you're playing a leader that can't attack, so without the stage, it's just...
Yeah.
You're playing on the defense the entire time, because you can't really go offensive.
You're playing on the defense with very, very, very mediocre cards. Because that was the thing. Kaido, while Kaido was trying to get to a stage, he could still impact the board with King, for example. And 9-drop Rush Kaido, and just things like that. But he was also still able to swing himself. So he could still fight, he could still go at the leader's life and try to close. That was the thing with Kaido. If you couldn't see your stage, you would still try to close the game out as fast as possible. Whereas Rebecca can't do that. She doesn't have an alternate win condition. She pretty much has, I see my stage. Once I see my stage, I'm set. But until I see my stage, I'm not doing anything. I can't attack. The bodies that I play on the board can't attack. They don't impact the board in any way. They're all very mediocre effects. God forbid they get popped if I'm playing against red, for example, because now I'm back to square one where I have no body. Because once again, now on the following turn, I still can't attack. I haven't established a body that can attack because my cards don't have rush until I see the stage. I can't fight the opponent for the board. The opponent's putting cards on the board. They're swinging at my face, and I can't challenge that. So it all just sounds very, very, very abysmal to me until she sees that stage. Now, like I was saying, I don't think that this is something that is... Because like you were mentioning, she can stack the deck. She has ways to get to the stage. I think more often than not, she'll have no issue getting to the stage. But I think the fact that that is a possibility that does exist is why I wouldn't put her in the top of the top with the OP4 leaders. I think that she has an inherent flaw built into her. Now, if she gets a Searcher, you know, once again, that's another way to get to the stage. And I think, obviously, you know, that would be a very big buff for her. However, I think so long as the possibility exists that she can ever be put into that position, because God forbid also, you're playing against like a black player who's playing some jank and he pops your stage. You know, because that does become a thing.
Playing bad cards, and you're gonna win. And if this deck gets a Searcher with the leader being a Searcher every turn, I'd be very upset, to be honest. It just wouldn't seem fair. But trust me, I do get what you guys are saying. Without this stage, it's a very slow deck. You're playing cards that their attack power is equal to their cost. 7 for 7, 5 for 5, because they can attack actives, maybe 1k higher. But I still think that it's, like, even before the stage, I'm like, this deck's going to be playable. But once the stage hits, it's...
No, continue.
No, that's it. No, that was me just like, ugh. It's gonna be...
Oh, yeah, I see.
Best deck.
Yeah. Like, and you know, just because... Go for it.
I was saying, the card's a 5 out of 5. It's just seeing the card, like, literally changes your play style of, okay, I need to be on defense, or, like, how you build the deck is going to be around, like you're saying, finding this card, so you're going to play the Peronas, you're going to play the Dilphys. Yeah. Like, this card has just determined the entire play style of the deck, and if you don't see it, you're just so far behind.
Just think about it. Just think about, like, I don't know, it could be a body as small as a Robin. Robin's only 4 inherently, right? You could put one Dawn on it, swing at the Rebecca, pop a body on the board, and then Robin is sitting there tapped with only 4k power, and Rebecca just has to stare at the Robin. Unless you play something on the board that is going to pop that Robin, and we've seen all of Dressrosa. Now this is why it comes back to what I was saying previously. If there is inherent in archetype level or cost reduction, that's a different story. But until we do see that, and there's a consistent way to lower that Rebecca can search off the top 2 cards, little cards like that are just able to run rampant and abuse you. Robin swinging at your face every turn for 5. You know, she's either forcing you to drop a card out your hand or to either take the life. Then she's removing a card on the board in the process. And it's like, that is good, but it's not like that's incredible. However, against Rebecca it is, because Robin is free to keep doing it every single turn until you do have a body that can rush into her. And I think that's the problem that Rebecca's going to run into. Now, we all agree she will be good. We all agree she will be meta. We all agree that she's going to be a very, very good leader.
But easier for sure.
I just don't... Yeah, but that's where she is for me. I think that she would be OP1 Kaido power level. Like, Kaido, I think Kaido is he's probably like the highest B tier leader there was, and I think that's where Rebecca will be. I don't think she'd squeak into the A tier because... if you're an A tier leader, you have to be flawless. You have to be good. You have to be flawless, and then for you to be an S tier leader, you have to be flawless, but also define the meta. So yeah, I guess that's where I stand on it. We all gave this card a 5. It's funny too because this stage, like most of it was just talking about Rebecca as a leader, but
because it changes her playstyle completely.
yeah, no, that's just how strong this card is. This card is ridiculous. I think Rebecca that opens the stage will be one of the best leaders in the game.
I don't think this stage should cost 1. I think it costing 1 is a little too much. It should be a 3-cost stage, 100%.
It should have at the very least been a 2-cost stage, so that you were forced to go. That you're forced to take second, because you would want to take second either way. But at least now you'd have to play this, and then you couldn't do anything additional on that turn, like establish another one-drop body, like a Perona or something.
So I think this stage should have had Moby Dick stats a 2-cost stage with trigger play this card.
Oh, I disagree with that. I disagree with that. I think that this stage is so strong that any copies of it that you lose should just be gone. You should, with how strong the stage is, you should always have to pay for it. I think the fact that Moby Dick plays himself is ridiculous. That card should not have that.
I'm not gonna lie, I've never had that trigger actually go off against me.
Neither has it gone off against me, but I've seen
it went off against me on Sunday.
I've seen Trevor resolve it.
Ooh.
I've seen Trevor resolve it a couple times.
I still won that match.
Alright. Well then, I guess with that, we'll go ahead and call it for now. But until next time, we'll see you guys.
See ya.
Be nice to me in the comments this time, please.
No.
Brandon, they're always nice to you. They actually come for me. They come for me and Nick, because, for example, a good example would be, like, if me and Nick had called that 7-drop Charlotte Linlin bad and you said it was good, they would attack us. They would attack us because they're like, you don't understand the potential of how you could play the card for free. And then it's like, you're not looking at the bigger picture, dude.
Bro.
But anyway, yeah.
Oh, you stopped recording, right?
No.
Oh, this is awkward.
No, yeah.
You can
But yeah,
call
no.
us, I mean.
See you guys.